On Tuesday, there is an election in Long Island, or on Long Island.
That's a real thing. Now, the people that want to deny that that's a real thing, you're doing a disservice for everyone.
You guys were like 5 to 10 seconds too late on that.
I was already moving on.
I've said it about the election.
Oh, yes.
On Tuesday, right? It's Tuesday. There is an election in New York 3rd, is it? New York 3rd, which used to be represented by George Santos.
My favorite.
He exited the Congress at the request of the rest of the Congress. Actually, they expelled him, but he's spending more time with his Jewy family. Yeah, apparently. But meanwhile,
When Congress kicks you out for being too venal,
exactly.
Well, I mean, he's milking it all until he goes to jail, most likely for a long time.
But here is there are two candidates, neither of whom I'm particularly like, but I do want the Democrat to win to further diminish the size of the majority of Republicans in the House. Tom Suozzi, not a great Democrat, but it's gotten increasingly conservative on Long Island. I mean, it's always been pretty conservative, but It's even more so these days. The Republican candidate is a woman named Mazie Pilip. She is an Ethiopian Jew, or I should say in Israel.
She's from Ethiopia, then moved to Israel
and fought in the IDF.
And enlisted in the IDF at 18.
And her only public positions before getting picked to be the nominee in this special election, the only public positions available was pro-Israel positions.
I don't know for a fact that she's Jewish, although the Ethiopians that emigrated to Israel did so under the so-called law of return, as part of the community of the Falasha or the Falash Mura. So more than likely, and here she is on a debate against Democratic candidate Tom Suozzi, and trying to answer a question on climate change, which apparently she hasn't given a lot.
So this is a debate and not a press conference. That makes the way that she answers this even worse, I think.
County legislator, I funded water quality projects and invest in electric buses, and I also made sure to add more fund to improve our parks. When I'm going to go to Congress, I can tell you I will join the Conservative Climate Change Caucus, and I will hold China accountable because China is #1 polluter, and I also will work with private sector innovation to make sure we are all engaged protecting our environment.
So
county legislator, I funded.
She seems really committed to the issue of climate change.
New York 3 includes Port Washington, Glen Cove, Oyster Bay. These are all coastal towns on the North Shore of Long Island. So this is quite relevant because Long Island's particularly susceptible to rising ocean levels. So she just read her entire answer and looked down the whole time.
I mean, it almost looked like she was like, okay, count to 3, look up, count to 3, look up. Like
what a joke.
It's a joke. I mean,
what a farce. This is more of a farce than Santos, that you have somebody whose only position is pro-Israel rattling off talking points as if like they just started doing this job. What a effing joke.
I mean, you would get a C on that book report because you didn't actually make an effort to kind of look up from your notes at that point.
I mean, last I saw, she was only down like 3 or 4 points.
It's good. No, it looks pretty close. Suozzi has like a pretty narrow lead in recent polling.
It'll be interesting to see how this works out. I mean, this obviously the seat was lost in 2022.
And Suozzi held the seat before he resigned to run for governor.
This is the kind of candidate that like it's not crazy to be like, oh, she could be an intelligence
I'm sorry.
asset.
Prove me wrong.
It's quite bizarre.
I don't see any reason this person should be treated with respect, especially with that position and given this time. I think this is this is such an embarrassment.
Bizarre.